Hey, what's going on, Ram fans? This episode, I'm going to get back to my NFC West position comparisons. I talked about the centers, but I didn't talk about the guards, and I'm going to look at the guards for the four NFC West teams and rack and stack them. That'll be coming up in a minute. A few things I wanted to talk about before we get started. Seattle Rams had a nice little poll of sorts on Twitter asking who is the best Rams running back not named Falk, Dickerson, Jackson, or Gurley. And I thought the answer was obvious, and I shared it. And it's Lawrence McCutcheon. And I'm surprised that was up for debate. A lot of people throwing names out there of guys that, decent running backs, I suppose. But Lawrence McCutcheon has to be the first one off your lips after those four. Maybe Bettis, but I'm going with McCutcheon, not dwelling on that for very long at all. To me, the answer was obvious. And another item on running backs, Cameron DeSilva sharing that NFL executives were polled about the top 10 running backs in the NFL. No Kyren Williams, and he was not one of the 5 honorable mentions either. I don't know what is going on with that. That sounds like just outright silliness. But maybe NFL executives aren't as smart as we assume they are. Kyren Williams has to be in the top 10. I know there's some really good running backs out there, and I know he has some shortcomings as well, but still, I think he belongs in the top 10. If you're not mentioning him in the top 15, yeah, I don't know. I think you're sacrificing some street cred as far as NFL goes if you're not mentioning Kyren Williams. Hey, it is episode 775 on the podcast, so I'm going to talk about a guy who wore number 75, a guy still, making the rounds. Demarco Farr, defensive tackle, 6'1", 276 pounds, out of San Pablo, California, on to the University of Washington, and he was a member of the undefeated 1991 Huskies that won the national championship, and he was signed as an undrafted free agent. I guess I would have guessed he was drafted, hadn't given it much thought, but undrafted. Rams sign him, and he played for the Rams 1994 in Los Angeles, makes the trip to St. Louis, and plays with the Rams through 2000. So his entire NFL career with the Rams, 100 games, 36 and a half sacks. He had 8.5 sacks in that 1999 Super Bowl winning season. His best season might have been 1995, first year in St. Louis, 11 and a half sacks, and he had an interception. So Demarco Farr won a national championship and a Super Bowl championship, and I don't have the data on that, but I suspect there aren't a lot of guys that can say that. And of course, he's still very present in the Rams world. He has a couple of podcasts that he participates on, including Rams Iconic, where he talks to players from the Rams' glorious past. And so he's still a big Rams booster. Demarco Farr, he's our number 75. And yes, I already talked about Deacon Jones and a few other guys. Irv Pankey and John Williams were the other ones. So we'll get back to some other guys 100 episodes from now. And what else do we have to talk about? There are some 2026 draft projections circulating, and Matt Miller of ESPN sees the Rams using those first 2 picks on Caden Proctor, the offensive tackle out of Alabama. Makes sense, especially given the situation with Lyric Jackson, and then going and getting their quarterback with that second pick in the first round, Drew Aller out of Penn State. Now, I am no quarterback whisperer, but Aller doesn't strike me as a guy that's really special, and the Rams need a really special quarterback. McVay will settle for nothing less. I could be wrong on Aller, but that's how Miller has the Rams going. And then who was the second one? This is NFL Spin Zone's Sayar Bettinger, had the Rams trading up in the first round to draft Fernando Mendoza. He's the quarterback that played 3 years at Cal and is now at Indiana, 6'5", 225 pounds, really good athlete. Now, I don't know what the plan is. I don't have the specifics on moving up. I wouldn't think you'd need to draft Mendoza. So maybe they drafted someone else with that first pick, Atlanta's pick. I'm assuming that's going to be the first pick, and then traded up further additionally in the first round to draft Mendoza. I think Mendoza will be there late in the first round, I guess is what I'm saying, but that's a long ways off. But thought I'd share that. Way too early to be doing mock drafts, obviously, but it's always fun just to check in. We'll be monitoring what these what these experts think the Rams are going to do. Really interesting situation. 2 first-round picks for the Rams, so they have a lot of draft capital. Could go a lot of different ways. So I wanted to talk about the guards in the NFC West, and we'll start with Arizona. And their starting guards appear to be Evan Brown, who a 7-year journeyman, really, had spent some years in Seattle. They re-signed him to a 2-year contract, $11.5 million. He was one of 2 offensive linemen to start every game for the Cardinals. The other guy was their center, who we talked about. They have a very good center there. And then the other one is Isaiah Adams, a 3rd-round pick out of Illinois last year. Was a backup most of the season. Moved into the starting lineup at right guard for the final 5 games of the season. Decent run blocker. Struggles a bit in pass blocking. That seems to be a running theme with a lot of these guards. But he's a young player that could be improving. Now, he has not, well, right now he appears to be the starting guard. There's a guy, John Gaines, the second on the roster, who could be in the mix. But Brown and Adams right now appear to be their starters, and nothing to get too excited about. I think Brown is serviceable. Adams, you hope if you're a Cardinals fan, you're hoping he develops a little bit and solidifies that interior offensive line. But I would not be overly excited about this group right now. Their center is very good. Their guards, not sure I'd be extremely happy with what they have there. Now on to Seattle. Now they spent the 18th overall pick in the draft to select Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State, and by all accounts, he is super talented. He could play basically almost anywhere across that line. A lot of people thought he might be a tackle, but it looks like he is going to be a guard. I guess one of the knocks on him is shorter arms, which is a real issue if you're playing left tackle, especially. But I would expect Gray Zabel to be a very, very good player. We won't know for a while, obviously. And then Anthony Bradford, he's a 4th-round pick in 2023 out of LSU, 6'4", 332 pounds. He had a pass blocking grade of 48.5. So like I said, a lot of these guys struggle in pass blocking or better run blockers. Bradford had real issues in protection, gave up 7 sacks, and his run blocking is nothing special either. So what would I say about this is the Seattle situation. Zabel should be very good, but their other guy, Bradford, he's gonna probably need some help on a regular basis. Could be okay in the run game, but he's a guy that defensive lines could try to victimize, is what I'm thinking. Now you go to the 49ers, and Ben Bartch returns. He finished last season on the IR. He was originally a 4th-round pick of the Jags in 2020, 6'6", 315 pounds. Because of those injuries, last year he started just 2 games, has played in just 7 games over 2 seasons, but he's graded out well when he's been in there. 70 plus in pass blocking and run blocking, but we don't have a lot of data on him. So the 49ers have to be hopeful. He's decent. And Dominic Pooney. Now, he was a 3rd-round pick last year, and he's a guy that I, thought the Rams could have made a run at. Of course, they had Avila and Dawson, so it didn't really make sense. But I think Pooney was a guy that high expectations. I thought the 49ers did well to get him in the third round. Started all 17 games last year as a rookie, an 81.5 run blocking grade. So this is one case where the 49ers got it right, and there have been a lot of cases recently where they've gotten it wrong. But Pooney, solid pick, and he should be entrenched there for the 49ers for a long, long time, unfortunately for the Rams. But Barch, they're counting on him bouncing back, a bit of a question mark, though. Then you get to the Rams, Avila, 6'3", 328, entering his third year. They moved him to center and then back to guard. He had an overall grade of 67.1, very good run blocker, 71.9, and his pass blocking was okay. Gave up 3 sacks, and he did miss 7 games last year. But Avila is solid, if not spectacular. Rams drafted him in the second round. Has he lived up to that? Yeah, borderline, but he's a good player, and I feel good enough about our situation at left guard with Steve Avila there. And then there's Kevin Dotson, 6'4", 321 pounds. He had an 81.8 grade overall, 7th best in the NFL. So he's borderline elite. A lot of us thought he should have been in the Pro Bowl. He's just an exceptional run blocker, a road grader, great in the power running attack. And with Avila and Dotson, I think the Rams are set at the guard position. They have some depth there with Bo Limmer, Dylan McMahon, and some other guys. So how do we rack and stack these guards? Well, if I looked at all these guards in this division, given them the Siskel and Ebert ratings here, Dotson is at the top, 4.5 stars, and Pooney, the 49ers, 4 stars, and I could be selling him a little bit short. Maybe he deserves a 4.5, but he's just got 1 year in the books, so held back half a star there. Avila, 3.5. He maybe being a little bit conservative on my rating of Rams players. Some would say he deserves 4 stars, but his pass blocking has just been average. So I went with 3.5. And Zabel kind of projecting here 3.5 stars. I suspect he's going to end up being a 4 and a 4 or a 4.5 star player, but until we see it. But Seattle's going to be very happy with him, I think. Evan Brown of the Cardinals, I gave him 3 stars. Just a veteran that's been around, decent, nothing special, nothing spectacular. And Barch, 3 stars. The injuries have held him back, but he's if he's your number 2 guard, you could do a lot worse. 3 stars for him. And then Anthony Bradford and Isaiah Adams of the Seahawks and Cardinals, respectively, 2 stars apiece. So overall, I would say right now the Rams have the first and third best guards in the division. Zabel could leapfrog Avila and probably will. So still, if the Rams end up having 2 of the top 4 and the other 2 are not from the same team, one from the 49ers and one from the Seahawks, and the Cardinals bringing up the rear here, Rams are in a good situation on the interior offensive line. Coleman Shelton and Bo Limmer, really good depth at the center position too. So at the guards, Rams at the top, 49ers and Seattle a couple rungs behind them. Pooney and Zabel, 2 really good young players, I suspect. And then the Cardinals, not a lot to celebrate. That's my assessment of the NFC West guards, and I think that's pretty fair. Dotson is right now the best guard in the division. Pooney and Zabel could end up having something to say about that, though. Out here from Rams Up.